everyone, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be taking a look at the insane, the monstrosity Land Rover Range Rover Sport SVR. Enjoy the video. Big thank you to Jaguar Land Rover of Calgary, Alberta for letting us borrow this vehicle. If you're interested in this or anything else on their extensive lot, the link to their website is right below that like button. As usual, we're going to start off with what's underneath the hood. Underneath this beast, the SVR has the best engine available in the Range Rover Sport lineup. We have a supercharged V8 making 575 horsepower. It is absolutely insane. It puts you back into your seat. The exhaust sounds great because of that engine too, which of course I'm going to show you later on, but take a look at this beauty. I'm going to throw the exact specs up for you. Be sure to pause if you need to know the details. Now, when you're walking down the road, you're walking down to your favorite ice cream store, it's summertime, you want to get a Slurpee, and you see this Range Rover Sport SVR driving by, you immediately think, is that the Russian Mafia? Because this one, especially this one, ours is all blacked out. The badges are blacked out as well, which is an additional package that you can get as well. And it just looks super aggressive, really menacing, and beautiful. The hood is a uniquely crafted, body-colored carbon fiber hood with functional venting, and man, does it look beautiful. I love looking at carbon fiber no matter where it is, and this one hits the nail on the head. And we're going to follow that up with premium LED headlights, because what else would we expect? We're going to have your LED daytime running light, your low beams, your high beams, and turn signals. They look good, they're sharp, they're sleek, and exactly what you would expect. And wrapping up the overall front end, whenever you just take a look and walk around the front, it looks really, really nice. It has gigantic functional venting all over the front bumper. I feel like the majority of the front end is all functional just because of how much air this thing would need to cool itself off. Of course, it's a supercharged V8, so of course it makes sense. Whenever you see this from the side, you immediately know it's a Range Rover. The look is a classic look, and we all know over the years that a lot of other manufacturers have been inspired by how the side angle of a Range Rover looks like, and they've incorporated it in their styles. All SVR models get a SVR specific 4-corner electronic air suspension that's of course adjustable, and it's great how it's actually an SVR specific suspension and it's not the same as everything else, so you'll feel good about that. Dropping down and feasting your eyes on these beautiful 21-inch gloss black wheels on wide and meaty 275 series tires, and they're super low profile too for an SUV. And you know what, it does a pretty good job keeping you comfortable. You don't feel too many potholes, especially when you're in mode. And if you take a look behind the rims, we have, of course, gigantic front Brembo calipers, which is obviously needed to stop this thick boy. Okay, we're finally at the rear, and you know exactly what we're getting close to. We get full LED premium taillights as the front, and of course that's expected. They look really beautiful. I love how they're darkened as well. With this, you're going to get your LED brake lights, turn signals, reverse, the usual, as you know. We also get an integrated spoiler, which isn't too loud up above the tailgate here, and it looks really nice in my opinion as well. And finally, when you move down to the lower portion of the rear bumper area, or the rear area in general, you're going to see this integrated exhaust, and we have an active quad exhaust system with insane sounds. Take a listen. Music to your ears, right? I know, I love it too. Now, since we're at the back, let me open up this power tailgate and show you what space that we have, because at the end of the day, of course, it's a fun track monster as well, if you want it to be, but it's supposed to be practical too, right? With the second row up, we are going to get 24.8 cubic feet of space, so not too bad. Obviously, because of the shape, it makes it a little less functional, but that's what you decide when you pick one of these up. You're going to pick the form over function. You could always put down that second row and get a more impressive 56.8 cubic feet of space whenever you're hauling things, which you most likely are not. And I've always just loved how nice Range Rovers, like the full sizes and the higher trims, they've always had such great feeling quality carpet. And make sure you cover that up though and get good mats, because you don't want to ruin them. Okay, so moving on into the interior, I want to start off with how beautiful these seats look right here. Okay, so moving on into the interior finally, look at these seats. They're probably one of my favorite parts about this vehicle. Look how beautiful they are as well. We get SVR specific lightweight sport performance seats wrapped in Windsor leather and of course SVR embossing as we expect. The thing I really love is how the rear outboard seats look like a less hardcore version of the front seats, and it's not just some odd looking bench that you'll find in some other vehicles where the front seats are just nice, but the front and back seats look both equally nice. Front seats are a 20-way adjustable heated and cooled setup. The rear is also heated, but no cooling function in that, which is, in my opinion, a little bit disappointing because for the price tag, it should have heated and cooled rear seats, and I haven't been able to find the massaging function for the front end. I believe it's supposed to have it, but I just couldn't find it, so maybe it doesn't. Let me know if you know. Steering wheel is also a SVR specific wheel. Actually, it looks similar to the regular Range Rover Sports. We just have the SVR branding at the bottom. We have this great red leather on the side grip area and the grip area as well. I love how it's indented really aggressively, and you have this red stitching along your airbag cover, and it's great quality as well. The buttons, not my favorite. It's a glossy black setup where you push in and it lights up and changes as well. Behind the wheel, you're going to have these aluminum paddle shifters, which are really nice and pretty, they're big enough. They're attached to the wheel. So obviously the interior seating is very nice. And when you first step in overall to an SVR, you do get a pretty wow kind of feeling to it. The materials and the fit and finish is pretty good for you know, this class of vehicle, but I would say it could probably use a little bit more of a wow factor when you get into it, because if you've been in other Range Rover Sports that are not the SVR models, you're gonna have a tough time noticing exactly what's different aside from the seats and the badging and the symbol that shows up on your infotainment. And talking about the special feel, the tech setup in here is expected to be first class, which I think it pretty much is. We thankfully have a digital display that's pretty configurable, and it's pretty good sharpness and resolution. It does feel laggy at times whenever you switch your drive modes, but overall I like how it's a full digital screen. You can configure it to pretty much any way that you prefer it to be. Moving on to the infotainment, we do have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto standard. 2019 was the year that they made that a standard feature. So moving on from there, you do have that standard, which is awesome. We have a high quality backup camera and 360 camera. And once again, you expect those things with a high quality vehicle, so it's good that it delivers on those things. Now, the only thing that I will nitpick at, which, you know, I don't really like nitpicking, but if you're spending $130,000, maybe it makes sense to nitpick a little bit more than usual. The screen, the infotainment itself, it does get a little laggy when you're scrolling through your options sometimes, but that doesn't happen that often. Maybe like 9.5 times out of 10, you won't notice it too much, but that once in a while thing, you will notice it. But you know what, it's one of the downsides of the SVR, I believe, but or just you know, in general. But the 2021s have improved upon that. Those are also a little bit glitchy, but not as much as the previous software. So it's good that they're working on improving it. And if you don't care about infotainment that much and you just care about your Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, then you'll be pretty happy with this. And whenever you're listening to your music, you're gonna get a premium experience with a 19-speaker sound surround Meridian audio unit, which makes your music sound like you're right there in the studio listening to your artist. The HVAC controls are probably my least favorite tech about this car. I'm glad we get dials at least, because, you know, hashtag save the knobs. But your seat climate, your regular HVAC controls, they do, and your vehicle, you know, dynamic mode settings, or whatever you want to call them, your drive modes, they're all selectable through here. And you know, most of the time they're like the infotainment. They're usually pretty good. You don't have to worry about them that much. But once in a while, like especially when you're starting up from a when it was parked, you're gonna notice that it takes a little bit of time for it to, you know, get up and running, which I wish it wasn't the case, but you know, it's what we have and we deal with it. The shifter is accented in the interior color. It has a nice feel. It's the older shifter as well, so it feels overall solid, I would say. Below that, you do get your air suspension setup, and you could always use the knob here as well to select what drive mode you want as well. You have a electronic parking brake below that. And if you move to the side, you get this coverable cup holder area, which is decently spaced. I love the silver trim they used to kind of wrap this area in. You know, a nice combination of materials used. And then when you move further down south, you do get kind of a two-tier setup for your center console, but even though I don't know what the first one will be used for, so open up all the way, and you'll notice that it might be a thin space, but it does go pretty deep, so that's awesome. You could probably fit like a tablet in there or something, and you also get your couple of USBs in there and a 12 volt. And one of the cool things that I never really think about is pretty cool is the dual tier glove box section, which is pretty much a Range Rover thing. So it's nice where you can press this and you can press that, and you have two different areas. Of course, the hidden pockets are also in your door panel area as well, so it's great areas for space saving as well. Okay, so now jumping into the second row, we get the same great finishes and materials used as well. I already mentioned the seats, but probably one of my favorite parts of the rear row as well. So I'm 6'1". For those of you who don't know, if you're new, thank you for tuning in. Hopefully that gives you a good idea of rear space. I have some pretty good legroom, pretty good headroom. I can be pretty comfortable here. This one also gets the 4-zone climate control, so we have rear vents and we could choose what temperature we want. So that is awesome, and you always also have a lot of light coming through because of that panoramic sunroof right above you. If you're ready, I am dying to show you the driving dynamics and just how fun this thing is. Let's go for a drive. How does it feel to be driving a Range Rover Sport, bro? Actually, you're not driving, but in the passenger seat.
It feels horrible.
What? It does.
Yeah,
you know how lucky you are to be driving cars like this, or being in the passenger seat of cars like this? Huh? All right, everybody, we are at a dead stop right now, and I am dying to give this thing some gas. You know exactly what it is, and we're on the inside, so it's pretty well isolated as well from the outdoor noise. So you're not going to hear that much exhaust, but whatever you hear, it pretty much tells you how loud this thing is from the outside if this much noise is coming inside. So like always, let's just do a nice little acceleration test. Of course, I'm at a complete stop right now, nothing going on. I come to this area where it's super just bare bones and literally no one's ever here at this time of the day, so it's awesome. And you know, of course, safety is our #1 thing. So yeah, okay. The heads-up display is super nice. Lets me know everything. And when you put it into track mode, it shows your revs basically as well when you shift, so it gives you kind of an idea of everything in case you want to use your paddle shifters. But we're going to leave it in the automatic mode as well and see what we got, all right? Are you ready? Jimmy, are you ready? Okay, 3, 2, 1. Oh my God! Did you hear that? You know, as a person that's a huge car enthusiast, that gets my heart pumping. And you know, I love the sound. I get eargasms every time. So that was that. Now I'm not on a track or anything, so I'm going to put it back into comfort mode here. And we're going to do some normal driving, because of course, that's what most of the people are probably going to use this thing for, right? They're not going to be taking this to a track maybe once, if ever. So when you put it into your regular driving mode, the exhaust does get toned down a bit as well. Overall, normal driving mode, like when I was driving home in this thing, I kept it in comfort mode, and I basically drove like a grandma, not gonna lie. And I just drove normally, and honestly, it didn't feel like you were in something that's, you know, 0 to 100 in under 5 seconds, like 4.5 seconds. So it feels really comfortable. I'm going over these bumps. The air suspension helps it out quite a bit. Of course, you're going to feel everything like you would in any other vehicle, but when you're normally driving this and you don't want to go fast, it just feels like any other vehicle. You know, the seats are super comfortable. They hug you really nicely. You can fit in. If you have a larger frame, it might be a little bit on the tighter side, so definitely check them out before you buy it, obviously, and you'll notice that. So, but in terms of just maneuverability, it doesn't seem that bad at all. So we're at this stop sign right now. Lots of visibility from the side windows. The side mirrors are big, so you can see a lot behind you. The front window is pretty good. The A-pillars are thin. You can see the front end where the vents are, so that's awesome as well. If you look over to your right side for your blind spot, it is actually pretty, you know, pretty good, I would say. That rear area right there, the D-pillar where it's really thick, that will be the roughest area, but everything, you know, behind that, in front of that is pretty much good to go. And of course, this has your blind spot information, so that is awesome as well. So you'll definitely be able to make safe turns if you're paying attention, of course, which you should. It's just incredible. Whenever you step on the gas, you'll just hear that exhaust kind of let go. even when the active exhaust valves aren't on. So it's just music to your ears. If you're a fan of great sounding vehicles and you're looking into this, I think you're gonna really, really, really enjoy it. No matter which one you get, please, please, please do not forget to get an extended warranty. You'll thank me later. And I think that's kind of it. That's kind of all I really have to say. Now, this is a great vehicle, super fun to drive. So if you want something super fun to drive, this is gonna be one of the best things on the list that you probably make, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, that's kind of all I have. Now, if you have any questions or anything that you want to add about this Range Rover Sport SVR, make sure you leave it down in the comments below, and I'll be sure to reply like I do to all the comments out there. And yeah, without further ado, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, you know exactly what to do. I'll catch you on the next one. Have a good rest of whatever you're doing. Peace.